My name is Dapo, and I have seen things that no man should ever see. I was born and raised in a small town where everyone knew everyone, where secrets were only secrets to those who didn't know how to listen. But there was one secret that nobody spoke about. One truth that everyone pretended did not exist. It was about the richest man in town, Chief Adeyemi. Chief Adeyemi was a man of power, a man of wealth, a man whose presence alone could silence a room. He owned the largest farms, the biggest houses, and the most successful businesses. His money flowed like the river, and those who were close to him never knew hunger. But he was also a man surrounded by rumors, whispers that crawled like insects in the night. I was a carpenter. My work was simple. I made chairs, doors, tables. I lived an honest life, or at least I thought I did until the day I discovered the truth. It started with a simple job. Chief Adeyemi sent for me. He wanted a new bed carved from the strongest wood in the forest. It had to be large, heavy, and without a single flaw. I did not question him. Who was I to ask why a man like him needed such a bed? The money he offered was more than enough to keep my family fed for months. The bed took me weeks to make. I put my best effort into it, making sure every detail was perfect. When it was ready, I delivered it to his mansion. The house was grand, standing alone on a hill, looking down on the town like a silent god. The servants took me to his bedroom, and I placed the bed where he wanted it. As I was leaving, I noticed something strange. There was another bed in the room, smaller, covered in white cloth. The shape beneath the cloth was unusual, as if something was lying there. A smell lingered in the air, something faint but sharp, like old earth and dried flowers. My skin prickled, but I said nothing. I took my payment and left. That night, I could not sleep. My mind kept returning to that covered bed, the strange shape beneath it, the smell that clung to my clothes long after I left. Curiosity is a dangerous thing, but it is also a thing that cannot be controlled. The next day, I found myself near Chief Adeyemi's house again, watching from a distance. The house was quiet, the windows shut tight. But then I saw something. A man arrived in a cart, carrying a wooden box, a coffin. The servants took it inside quickly, glancing around as if afraid of being seen. My heart pounded. Why would a man need a coffin in the middle of the day? Why bring it in secret? Days passed, and the whispers in town grew louder. People spoke of missing bodies, graves dug up in the dead of night. The families who buried their loved ones would return to find the earth disturbed, the caskets empty. Fear gripped the town, but no one spoke too loudly. No one dared to ask questions. But I could not stay silent. One night, I made up my mind. I would find out the truth. I waited until the town slept, then made my way to Chief Adeyemi's house. The air was thick with silence, the kind that makes the skin crawl. I slipped through the shadows, moving as quietly as I could. The house was locked, but the back door leading to the servant quarters was open. I stepped inside, my heart beating in my throat. The mansion was cold, colder than the night outside. The hallways stretched endlessly, the darkness swallowing everything. I moved carefully, listening for any sound, and then I heard it. A low murmur, a whisper of breath. I followed the sound, my feet moving as if they were no longer mine. I reached the bedroom door, the same room where I had delivered the bed. The door was slightly open. I peered inside, and what I saw froze my blood. Chief Adeyemi stood by the bed, his back to me. The white cloth had been pulled away, revealing what lay beneath. A woman, but she was not alive. Her skin was pale, her eyes closed as if in sleep. Her body was still, too still. And Chief Adeyemi, he was touching her face, whispering to her as if she could hear him. I stepped back, my breath caught in my throat. A floorboard creaked beneath my foot. Chief Adeyemi turned sharply, his eyes locking onto mine. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then, in a voice too calm, too measured, he spoke. "You should not be here." Fear swallowed me whole, but my legs refused to move. My body was frozen in place as he stepped toward me. "You do not understand," he said, his voice thick with something I could not name. "This is love." Love. That was the word he used. Love. I turned and ran. My legs finally obeyed, carrying me through the dark hallways, out into the night. I did not stop until I reached my home, my chest heaving, my mind screaming. The truth was worse than the rumors. Chief Adeyemi did not just steal the dead. He loved them. I did not sleep that night, nor the night after. The town remained silent, the people pretending not to see what was in front of them. But I knew. I knew the richest man in town only slept with corpses. Days later, I packed my things. I could not stay. The town was cursed, its silence a prison. As I left, I looked back one last time. Chief Adeyemi's house stood on the hill, watching, waiting, and I knew no matter how far I ran, I would never forget what I had seen. But the truth is not something that can be left behind. As I traveled from town to town, I heard whispers in the dark, stories of other places where graves were disturbed, where the dead did not rest. And in every tale, the name changed, but the story remained the same. A man of power, a man of wealth, a man who loved the dead. I knew then that Chief Adeyemi was not the first, and he would not be the last. And now I feel it. Something follows me in the dark, the weight of unseen eyes pressing down on me, whispers when I close my eyes. I dream of cold hands, lifeless fingers grazing my skin, and when I wake, I am never sure if I was truly asleep. The dead are calling, and I fear one night I will answer. The dreams grow stronger. Faces of the dead stare at me in my sleep, their lips moving but no words coming out. Shadows stretch unnaturally in my room, shifting even when there is no light. And sometimes, in the silence of the night, I hear his voice, Chief Adeyemi's voice, whispering just beyond my door. I do not know how, but I know this. He is coming for me. One night, as I lay in my bed, paralyzed by fear, I heard it. A knock at my window. Slow, deliberate. I turned my head, and in the darkness, I saw a figure standing outside. Chief Adeyemi, but he was not alone. Behind him, standing still as the grave, were the dead.